Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Aries energy. And we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Aries energy. Some people harness a more worldly focused Aries energy. And some people harness a more shadowy Aries energy. People who are in high vibe have learned some lessons in life that maybe some other people haven't learned, which is about being bold and brave enough to freely be yourself in the world, because that's what loving energy is about. I choose to love and believe in myself and believe in my dreams, and love's the highest energy of all. I want to be in relationships based on love and truth and honesty so I can authentically be myself and be in relationships with other people who are authentically being themselves where there's love, because otherwise people get in a relationship hiding from being vulnerable and authentic, and they're letting their more egoic nature run their life, and they're kind of emotionally defensive to being hurt and being authentic in a relationship. So they're kind of building a false foundation. And when people are operating from their more egoic nature, there can be pride and ego and competitiveness and envy and jealousy and pettiness and maybe wanting to be in the relationship because of codependency or fear or insecurity or for pride and ego and status and image reasons. If it's not love, there's a different reason for being in the relationship. And then much more shadowy Aries energy is people who are bossy and controlling and think it's all about them. You know, the only reason they do anything is because of how it benefits them, their pride, their ego, their image, their status, their lust, their greed, and they're not willing to let go of any of their shadowy ways of being. They might create an illusion to manipulate people into not seeing the truth of who they are, but eventually the truth comes out. So, what do we got going on in Aries energy right now? The Five of Swords came out. In high vibe, that means people, and the reason for the reading is the foundation that people hold on to. Some people hold on to a foundation of love and they want to hold on to people in their life who are loving. And other people hold on to their more worldly foundation because that's what they love. I feel safe and secure being emotionally defensive. That's the foundation I'm going to hold on to. It makes me feel safe. I'm going to hold back from love. I get hurt doing love. So I'm going to try to find the people in the world who I can get in relationships with who will let me keep holding on to these old ways of being that I don't want to let go of. If I'm prideful, egotistical, immature, indulgent, lazy, self centered, egotistical, I need to find someone who's willing to indulge me being that way because I don't want to let go of any of those ways of being. So the high vibe people in the Five of Swords Aquarius energy have looked at life from a higher perspective. They went within to go gain insight and understanding from past life experience. If I want to be in relationships with people who are operating from a foundation of love, I need to learn lessons from my past life experience of relationships. Who are the people who are prideful and egotistical? Who are the people who are selfish and greedy? Who are the people that are immature and indulgent? Who are the people who are bossy and controlling? If I previously indulged people like that, why did I indulge people like that? Is that a pattern of relationship that I was used to, where I'm used to indulging people who are like that? Because we all repeat certain patterns of ways of being in the world because it's kind of like our comfort zone, or we haven't learned better. And it's like, I don't want to repeat certain patterns of relationship. I've been there, I've done that. I've looked at life from a higher perspective. I have a dream. And if I don't want to repeat those ways of being, I need to look within myself to find out why was I even drawn and attracted to certain ways of living my life or people in my life? Because people come into our life because we have lessons to learn from them, to get clear about what our truth is. I would also say in high vibe energy, this is people who have reflected on the truth, because the Five of Swords comes after the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is about reflecting on the truth, healing from past pain and heartbreak, accepting that there's people in our life who are fearful, who are insecure, who are self-centered, who are immature, whatever. And we could have wished things would have worked out differently, but everybody's where they're at. It all serves a purpose. It's just to offer it peace and accept that everyone was where they were at. We were where we were at. We've all had lessons to learn, and it's to offer love and compassion to it all so we can release it and be willing to take the lessons we've learned from that experience to change ourselves, to keep having hope and faith and belief in our dreams. And now that we've learned these lessons of truth, the Four of Swords again was thinking and meditating on the truth. And then with the Five of Swords, it's that new truth. I have seen and learned and gotten more clear about what my truth is. I have learned from my own ways of living my life, the own ways of thinking about myself, how I've treated myself, the relationships I've got into, how those people are in life, what's hurtful and unkind to myself, and what people in the world were hurtful and unkind and unjust and unfair and unloving, and which people in the world and how differently it felt to be in relationships with people who were truthful and honest and just and fair, and how I could have hurt people when I had lessons to learn, you know, and seeing the truth of it all so that you can change and keep moving forward believing in your dreams. Because high vibe people want, with the Justice card, the Chariot card, and this card not showing itself because of the Emperor card. The Emperor is Aries energy, and in high vibe, that talks about, I want the justice I deserve. I want to be in loving, emotionally balanced relationships, because the Chariot card is Cancer energy, about love and home and family and emotional balance. And it starts within us. As an emperor of our own life, we have to take responsibility for our own life. And that if we want just and fair and balanced and loving relationships, we should be putting in the work and effort to be just and fair and balanced and loving within our own self. The Chariot card can talk about the fact that we do have this dualistic nature within us. We've all got our worldly nature. That never goes away. You know, our worldly nature is our more, but I want what I want. And I want it when I want it. It's our more immature, indulgent, selfish, greedy, prideful, egotistical, all about myself nature. And that part of us that would like it all to come to us without us having to put in any work and effort. Well, odds are, if we're not putting in work and effort to be a good leader in our life, and not like, the Emperor is about harnessing all four of the elements. We have the kings and the queens of the four different suits. And if you were to look at the tarot deck as like a hierarchy, we have the pages, which is like down here, like being children, having lessons to learn. And then we have the knights going out in the world and exploring all of life and learning these lessons. And hopefully, as we go through life in the king and queen stage, we learn all these lessons in life of what happened, what did I learn when I kind of lived more from my mind than my heart? What happened in my life when I kind of let my emotional nature or my heart run my life? What happened when I put work and effort into my more worldly focused nature of stability and security and growing and maturing myself or indulging in the world? And what about my fiery nature and my intuitive nature and my creative inspired nature? And during our lifetime, we can kind of run our life off into the ditch at different times because we had lessons to learn in letting our heart run our life. And it's like, oh, wow, when I just let my heart run my life and I kind of ignore the other aspects of myself, like they're not as important. The most important thing is for me to be in my emotions or to follow my heart. it really throws our life out of balance, you know. And when we just let our mind run our life, that kind of drives our life off into the ditch. So it's learning all these lessons throughout our life so that when we have learned those lessons, we have learned that if I'm going to make a decision, I do have these four aspects of myself: my heart, my mind, my 3D world, and my creative, inspired, intuitive, passionate nature. I need to make decisions that take into account all four elements of myself. And I need to make mature decisions that are best for my life if I want to maintain balance in my life, because the justice card is Libra energy, which is represented by the scales of justice. And if I want to do it from a foundation of love, I need to do that work within myself first, making good decisions in my life, maintaining balance in my life, and from a place of love. And when I do that, I can cut this energy out of my life that's that I that I might have been holding in a shadowy way, or staying in relationship with other people who harness this energy in a shadowy way, because I need to harness this energy in a high vibe way. Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is also Cancer energy. But it's about not using our emotions manipulatively to get what we want. That's not just and fair and balanced, even though some people might think it is. High vibe people say no. It isn't about using my emotions manipulatively to get what I want. And I also don't want other people in my life who try to maybe use the love that I have for them to manipulate me. If they're not making good decisions in their life, and if their decisions affect my life, if you're going to be in relationships with other people, you should be just and fair and balanced and loving, and the decisions you make should take into account how it will impact other people. And they're not going to let other people try to emotionally manipulate them to stay in their egoic nature, in their fear, in their insecurity, in their pride, in their ego. It's like cutting out their own third party, which is their ego nature. I'm not going to let my fear, my insecurity, my immature, indulgent, lustful, greedy, prideful, egotistical nature run my life. And I'm not going to let other people in my life who kind of represent those aspects of myself that want me to keep staying in relationship with me for their own selfish, greedy, or prideful ego reasons. I need to make decisions that are best in my life if I want my divine inheritance. And I need to move forward in an energy of balanced, loving relationships. And if other people are trying to manipulate me, that's not a loving, balanced relationship. That's why aren't they being truthful and honest and just and fair? Why are they trying to emotionally manipulate me? Because the high vibe people want to give birth to something new. Internally, the feminines in tarot can talk about our emotional state, and the masculine energies in tarot can talk about how we take action in the world. And, you know, we can all present ourselves whatever way we want in the world, but what's the truth of who we are internally? The high vibe people are the Emperor and the Empress are a matching pair. What we align with inside of ourselves, what we love, is going to dictate how we move forward in life and the decisions we make in life. What do we want to give birth to? High vibe people are aligned with love and truth and justice and fairness. The Empress energy is Libra Taurus energy. I have put work and effort into my own foundation to be stable and grounded and abundant within myself. I have learned to love myself. I have healed. I have changed. I am no longer in my ego, up in my head, up in my fear and my insecurity and my self centeredness. I am balanced because there's a maximum of 10 in every suit, and this is a 5. So the 5s can talk about I am maintaining balance between my mind and my heart. And the 5 of Swords is Aquarius energy. I have looked at life from a higher perspective. The Virgo energy, I have gone within to gain insight and understanding to learn lessons from my past life experience. I'm trying and working to make good decisions in my life that are just and fair and loving. And I'm going to cut people out of my life and ways of my own egoic, worldly nature that try to manipulate me into indulging in maybe a shallow victory, because that's also what the Five of Swords can be, and like being in my ego. Because I want to give birth to things from a place of love. If those people are in a loving relationship right now, they're going to hold on to that loving relationship. And we can all be tempted in the world all the time. We can, temptations around all of the time. And if some of those people are in a loving, just, and fair and balanced relationship where everybody is putting in work and effort to make good decisions, to not operate from ego, to be self aware and enlightened and loving, there's certainly no reason they should give up that relationship. But it doesn't mean we might do a little mental thought on it, like, ponder on it, kind of. Other people who might be in a relationship might be having some mental conflict if the relationship they're in is kind of a mismatch relationship where one person kind of lives more from their mind than their heart, because Libra energy is air sign energy. They don't have to be a Libra sun sign. Doesn't matter what zodiac sign they are, but they could be people who make decisions in their life, because that's what the Aries Emperor is about, based on what they like to give birth to in their life. And if there's someone who likes to give birth to things that to them make more logical, practical sense, who might be people who don't really want to do love because you can get hurt doing love. And then you got to kind of change your whole philosophy of life, about what you love and what you think is just and fair. If some people are in a mismatch relationship where one person could live more from their mind, but the other person could live more from their heart and is more motivated by love, and the other person could be like, well, we should keep staying in this relationship because it looks victorious and successful by worldly standards. We'll be able to give birth to a lot of things that are abundant. But the one person wants to hold back from love, but stay in the relationship because there could be love there. But I don't want to grow and mature myself and be more vulnerable. I want to keep doing things the way we've done it. It's kind of like, shadowy energy is kind of represented by the devil, and loving energy is represented by the divine, and the universe is ever expanding. And, high vibe energy is about growing and maturing yourself and willing to face your fears and insecurities, which are represented by the devil, to give birth to new things. But some people are more aligned with their more worldly nature, and it's more about aligning with their more worldly nature, maybe not having hope and faith and belief in love, but wanting to be in relationships because it's stable and abundant and looks victorious and successful. And of course, if they're in a relationship with someone who's loving, yeah, I want to stay in a relationship with you, but I don't want anything to change. The devil, there's either life-giving energy or non-life-giving energy. I don't really want to open up any more than I already have. I'm like, good, let's keep moving forward like this. And it's kind of like the relationship won't grow and evolve and deepen and mature, but they're willing to stay in it because they're either in a relationship with someone who's loving, or they're in a relationship with someone who's successful and victorious by worldly standards. And they want those things, either the loving people to still stay in their life, or the people who have status and image and power and influence, or indulging them some way in a relationship. But they don't want to grow and mature. And the other person would like things to grow and mature and operate from a foundation of love, but the other person is more comfortable operating from a foundation of using their emotions manipulatively in a relationship. For some of the people that are kind of in a mismatched relationship, some of the loving people right now might, their partner kind of in a way holds back from them. It's kind of like, I'll match your energy in a way, but I don't freely give of myself People who have learned to love themselves, they're like happy for no reason. They just choose joy and love and peace in their life. Their cup overflows. They freely give to people because they know how to fill their own cup emotionally. But people who have aligned with living more from their mind and their heart, and they kind of hold back from love, they probably are people who hold back from filling their own cup emotionally, and they're more motivated and inspired to align with their more egoic worldly nature. For one, they could be people in the shadowy Empress, could be people who like to be surrounded by abundance. Like, I want to be in relationships with people who are loving and giving and nurturing and supportive, but that's not who I am. I like to be around people who have a lot of stability and security and whatever, because I'm kind of selfish and greedy and materialistic. But why are they in the relationship? Is it because of love? Or because they're basically being indulged in some way in the relationship? And some of the people who might be in a mismatched relationship, in a way, they both could kind of have mental conflict, because if you're motivated and inspired by different things, the loving people want to be in relationships with other people who are loving. And the people they're in a relationship with kind of hold back and don't really open up and don't freely give of themselves. And they never step out of their comfort zone. The relationship never grows and matures and changes with time and deepen. Kind of just stays the way it was. Which, is kind of this illusion about what it means to be in a relationship. Like, don't we get in a relationship for status and image and, for these things? But then, like, I don't ever have to grow and mature myself. I don't ever have to shed any of my fears or my insecurities or deal with my past pain and heartbreak or my self-centered nature or my wanting to be shadowy Aries in the Emperor can be bossy and controlling. Shadowy Empress can be, I like to be indulged in a relationship. Shadowy Four of Pentacles, I'm selfish and greedy and I don't like to open up. I like to be in a relationship because it's abundant for me to be in it. People are indulging me in it. The scales are tipped in my favor. Someone who's really loving isn't getting a just and fair relationship because I don't treat them freely in love the way they treat me, but they're indulging me in a relationship. And I'm okay with that. And the other people are like, but I want to be in a relationship with people who treat me the way I treat them. Why would loving people stay in a relationship with people who are like that? Because we all repeat patterns of relationships because it's like our comfort zone. It could be how we grew up. We could be used to being in a relationship with people who are a little more ego based or a little more bossy and controlling, or used to being in relationships with people who don't open up, kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to love them and one day they're going to pop out a different human being and they're going to open up and blah blah blah. The whole thing is, people have their own philosophies of life that are kind of really deeply entrenched belief systems about how they view themselves, how they view the world, how they view relationships, what they think is just and fair. I mean, there's some people who are just and fair, think it's just and fair. Shadowy Five of Swords in Aquarius energy, it's all about my ego and image. That is the most important thing. I need to look victorious. I need to look like in the world that I have accomplished these goals. I need people to view me a certain way. And I want them to love me. Some people are very prideful and egotistical and self-centered. Some people don't want to be in relationships with people who are insightful, who are self-aware about people's motives for being in a relationship. Some of those shadowy people could have been in a relationship before with people who are just and fair and true leaders in the world, who held back from them in a relationship because they saw this person was more motivated to stay in the relationship because of money and ego and image, or their indulgence, which can go as far as people being really abusive in a relationship. They think it's just and fair. It's all about them anyway. And other people could have gotten in a relationship with them and initially thought it all seemed great, and they thought they were going to give birth to moving forward in life to something new. And then they realized that the shadowy person they were in a relationship with had a problem with that because they never planned to give birth to anything new. It's like, no, we do like the way I've always grown up thinking life is supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to do a relationship. This is what I think is just and fair. I don't give birth to anything new. This I view as abundant. I want it to stay just like this. I want to hold back from life-giving energy of love. I don't want to give birth to anything new. We have to do life just the way it's always been, and it becomes stagnant and stale. They're not willing to step out of their comfort zone to do things, like add to a foundation, like take the ways that they grew up learning about life and relationships to add to it. It's like, oh, that's scary. In my Aries fiery nature, I'd have to kind of listen to my intuition to guide me. And some people harness their Aries energy in a shadowy way. It's not to be bold and brave and creative and listen to their intuition. It's like, this is the way it should be. We do not listen to our intuition, aligning with our worldly nature and getting in relationships and having the status and the image or being indulged. That is the ideal relationship and how we should live in the world. We don't listen to our intuition. We don't, it's kind of like going against the flow, against nature. I refuse to grow and mature myself. I refuse to admit that I have lessons learned. So again, shadowy natures being in like your pride and ego. This is the perfect way to live life. I have mental conflict about thinking that I should go within and gain insight and understanding about why I hold back from giving birth to anything new. Why am I so afraid of stepping outside my comfort zone? Why am I so afraid of being more vulnerable and authentic in a relationship? Why does a relationship have to be just like this? Why do I have to be the boss? Why do I have to be the pampered, privileged person in a relationship, male or female? Why is it more about me and my wants and needs than an equally balanced relationship with my partner? Because they could think being bossy and controlling is just and fair. If they could be someone in the Aquarius card and the Empress card, they could be people and the Emperor card and even the Cancer Chariot card. They could be someone who seems to look very victorious and successful by worldly standards. So then they could think it's just and fair for people to get in a relationship and kind of indulge me. Kind of like what they bring to the table is more valuable than maybe what other people bring to the table. Some people harness high vibe Empress energy, and those people are not engaging with some people in their past anymore because some of the people from their past do think it's just and fair. It's like, I want to be in a relationship with someone who presents themselves well to the public, maintains a certain persona, because Libra energy can be about like our public politician personality. I want to look like I'm a boss and successful and victorious. You need to play your part. I'll play my part. I'll present myself as like just and fair. You present yourself as like a loving family person, and together we'll look really victorious. But some of those people that are in those relationships right now, they're both in shadowy energy. They're both people who align more with their worldly nature and their Capricorn energy. And this could be how they view relationships. It's not authentically about being in a relationship because of love. It's more important to look victorious and successful in the world. Do you want to get in a relationship with me? We would look very victorious and successful. I have fear of stepping outside my comfort zone or loving myself and believing in myself to give birth to anything new. So do you want to get in a relationship with me? And we'll look very victorious and successful in the world. And the shadowy people are cutting out operating from a foundation of love. They're hiding from the people they're in relationship with, that they use their emotions manipulatively to get what they want. I want to look victorious and successful. I want to look like I've moved forward, that I'm the winner. I have all these things in the world. I'm just not going to show people that I'm trying to emotionally manipulate the person I'm in a relationship with and manipulate the world into believing that I've given birth to something new, because the shadowy people aren't giving birth to anything new. You can go get new jobs, you can go get new relationships, go get new friends, move to different towns, but they're the exact same person they were at the last job, in the last friend group, in the last relationship. Initially, it's to create shadow energy. The devil is about creating this illusion to confuse people about the truth of what it is. But eventually, the truth gets revealed. I haven't grown and matured myself. I still haven't learned to love myself. I still haven't healed from my past pain and heartbreak. I'm still aligned with my more worldly, egoic, emotionally defensive, immature, prideful, egotistical, selfish, lazy, lacking hope and faith and belief. I have a lot of mental conflict. I don't want to go within to deal with whatever it is within me that makes me decide that this is just and fair to live my life that way. And to think that, that's the illusion. The truth sets you free. That's loving energy, is the truth sets you free. They think they can give birth to something new, holding back from love. Let's get in a relationship. It looks victorious and successful, but let's hold back from love, which is being open, authentic, vulnerable, truthful, just, fair, balanced. Let's try to create an illusion that we've given birth to something new and create the illusion that it's love. But we're really building the foundation and getting into it because we're fearful, we're insecure, basically they just have lessons to learn, you could say. Some people who are in those type of relationships, whether they're a mismatched relationship or both in shadowy energy, some of those people want to win at all costs. They know there's other people who are authentically in relationships like this, and they really are going to move forward getting the justice they deserve in loving, emotionally balanced relationships where the people in the relationship are both making good decisions in their life and in the relationship because emotionally they're balanced and loving within themselves. And those people are going to move forward holding on to that loving relationship because that is a foundation worthy of holding on to, and the other people see other people doing that. They could be hiding that they're kind of watching other people in the world who do that, and they want to look like they're doing that too. They just haven't figured out that the other people aren't putting on an illusion. What they don't, because I do think we tend to view other people in the world as kind of like being like ourselves. And if, you're either connected in with your emotions and your intuition and love to guide your decisions, or you're kind of living more from your mind than your heart. And it's like trying to put this puzzle piece together, thinking that's what the point of life is. Don't you try to put all these things laid out and all these pieces together so it makes it look like you have your dream came into reality? Well, they do that. And this is part of their puzzle pieces. I just need to get these puzzle pieces together. And look, I did it too. The only difference is they're hiding from love and not showing that they're using their emotions manipulatively to get what they want. And the other people that they don't get, the other people are really operating from love. And that's the difference that they can't figure out. How can those people look so successful? How can those people seem to truly be victorious and happy and loving? It's like, because they're not faking it. They're not just putting on a show. They're not just trying to create an illusion. They're actually listening to their intuition about who they get in relationships with and who they stay in relationships with. And if they get in relationships with people and they realize that even though that relationship by worldly standards might look successful, if as time goes by, as a relationship is supposed to grow and mature, that I realize that the people, getting more and more clear about what people's truth are and what truth they want to align with. If I find out I'm in a relationship with someone who I didn't see the truth of before, because we can all be gullible, naive, and And then, of course, there's people that wear a really good social mask. So, we don't realize the truth of who they are for a long time. That we realize that they are people, eventually their shadowy nature comes to light. And we realize they're more bossy and controlling and in wanting to be indulged and more about themselves and really isn't about love. It's more about image and status. And they hope you stay in the relationship with them because of image and status. And it's like, that wasn't why I got in the relationship. Some people are in a relationship like that, and the loving people in their life haven't been seeing that the person they're in a relationship with kind of uses their emotions manipulatively. And the high vibe people are ready to give birth to something new, but their partner seems to be holding back in some way. And that's when their shadow nature comes out. Because in order for them to go to the next level of life, the kind of more worldly or ego or defensive people they're in a relationship with, there's some truth that they would have to deal with that they either don't want to see or they see it and they're not willing to let go of it anyway. There's something they'd have to see the truth of, and they have mental conflict about seeing that truth. Let's go ask what it is. Well, this is the reason for the reading, which can also be why the reading came out. And so that would be seeing the truth that they have this way of being or a way of viewing the world, and they want to keep doing it that way. They have some fear about stepping outside their comfort zone. For others, it could be that they are more attached and more aligned than they could have even realized, being tempted by their more worldly nature, which again, I don't, there's something about the next level of life that would require me to be more vulnerable, that I hold back from being more vulnerable. So it tempts me to align with my more egoic defensive nature, which then manifests in all these different things, to be tempted in their lust, in their greed, in their pride, in their ego, in their more immature, indulgent way, because they don't want to see that maybe that they just hold back from love or acknowledge that I am kind of more selfish and greedy than I like to realize. And if we move forward in a new way where I have to be more vulnerable, more just and fair, well, then the scales kind of won't be tipped in my favor and I won't be maybe as indulged as I was. And it would have to be a more just and fair relationship. And some people have a problem with that because they're used to kind of being the boss and feeling it's just and fair for them to have the scales tipped in their favor. And so then, if you're in a mismatched relationship, both people could feel like, you know, we were drawn and attracted to getting in that relationship because there was lessons for us to learn there. The whole point was for everybody to do the work within themselves to get in the driver's seat of their own life, to love and believe in themselves and choose love. But if both people aren't doing that work and effort within themselves, self-reflecting, gaining insight about, why do they have problems being just and fair? Why do they have a problem being vulnerable and loving in a relationship? And it was to learn to love ourselves and realize that we can get in relationships with people that we love, but because it's kind of a mismatched relationship at that time, that we could hold back from them because we're ready to give birth to something new and the other people aren't. And some people could be right now in relationships where everything could have seemed to be going great, and then this problem comes up, and people could feel like because I took this path, because yes, I did have lessons to learn, there could have been other people that I missed opportunities with. Some people are thinking, I missed an opportunity to get in a relationship with someone who's more aligned with their Capricorn energy, that is maybe more about money and materialism and status and image, because I got in a relationship with a person who's more about being creative and inspired and authentic and loving. How the hell did that happen? I never planned to get in a relationship with someone like that, you know? And they're tempted to go get in a relationship with someone based more on who has a more worldly view of life like they do. And the loving people are like, oh my gosh, I ended up getting myself in a relationship with someone who I didn't realize is more worldly focused, image focused, materialistically focused. And they're not willing to deepen this relationship and make their life about more than that. I mean, we all have to pay attention to the world, and we all want stability and security, and we'd all like some of the finer things in life. It's just that some people don't make that like the most important thing in their life. It's like operating from a foundation of love and assuming those things will grow from it, right? And they could also feel like, wow, I did learn a lot of lessons in this relationship, but I feel like I've missed an opportunity in love because I wanted to be in a relationship with people. Shadowy Capricorn of the Four of Pentacles is represented by the devil. High vibe Capricorn energy is people who've put in work and effort to free themselves from their more worldly egoic nature, who've grown and matured themselves to be free, to realize that I can be a King of Pentacles in the world because I'm a nurturing, loving, mature, supportive, encouraging person in business and in families, and I listen to my intuition, and I'm bold and brave and confident. You don't get so consumed with your egoic, materialistic nature. You've grown and matured yourself to kind of have the best of both worlds in a way that these things come to me naturally because I've grown and matured myself, and I'm not selfish and greedy and prideful and egotistical and selfish and whatever. And some people didn't maybe get that or learn that lesson, and they still keep thinking that it's not about connecting in with your intuition and being more bold and brave and confident and listening to your intuition and facing your fears. No, it's about just working with the things of the world. And so they had some lessons to learn. So I think if people are in some loving relationships, they're not going to let a third party interfere in their life, as well they shouldn't, because they're in a loving relationship. Some people could be in a mismatched relationship, and there could be a loving person in their life who would like to be a part of their life, maybe like hold on to them. But if the person, whether they're a high vibe person or a shadowy person, they're already in a relationship and they're going to keep working on that relationship. I just think if it's a shadowy relationship or a mismatched relationship, the truth will be revealed eventually. And why are they so determined to hold on to it? Is it because of ego or image? Is it because of money and status? And when you're not listening to your intuition, and if the divine is telling people this is not the right relationship for you, you're staying in this because you have fear of starting fresh, starting new, or whatever, or believing in yourself, and that's why you stay. Eventually, this relationship, the conflict of the different goals and motivations will manifest itself, and it will become toxic over time. It's just some people haven't realized that yet, and they still could think like the worldly people think, oh no, they'll stay in the relationship with me because of ego and image and money and materialism. And the loving people think, oh, well, they'll get more loving and open. And both of them realize that neither one changes because they both have their underlying philosophies of life that guide the decisions that they make. And they view life differently. And unless they're willing, well, I think if people are motivated and inspired by different things, I think that can really be tough. But I guess if there is love there, people have to be willing, you know, we all want what we want, right? But if we're going to work together with other people, everybody should have to give up some of the things that they want that you could have and go indulge in if you're single. But if you're going to work cooperatively and try to maintain justice and fairness and a balanced, loving relationship, everybody can't have everything they want at any given moment in time. You know, there has to be some sacrifice and compromise. And people have to be willing to see how they could kind of want it maybe more to be their side versus the other person's side. And they also have to be willing to see how, if you have two people that are very different, there are going to be these outside forces that kind of tempt them because, you know, they're kind of maybe more naturally inclined to want to associate with different kinds of people than the person they're actually in a relationship with. Because it is kind of a mismatched relationship. I guess it's possible. As long as they're willing to say, I realize that, and because of that, I have to kind of be vigilant to not let third parties interfere because it is such a kind of divided relationship. But for other people, I think it probably wouldn't withstand it because they just both are motivated. You know, if it was, that's the thing. Was it from, usually it could be that one person's kind of more motivated and inspired by love. The other person could have been more inspired by, well, I had mental conflict. Well, I wanted my dream to come into reality. I was fearful and afraid and you came along, so I moved forward with you. But they were hiding how they really view relationships. And I think for most of those relationships, it could fall apart because they really are. The one person maybe really isn't someone who gets in relationships motivated by love. It is more because of fear or codependency or something. But let's ask, what's coming up for the people who harness and the people that are in a mismatched relationship, some of those people are having mental conflict because if they could realize if they keep moving forward in this relationship, they're just going to give birth to more of the same. And so they're going to hold back from being in this mismatched workplace, friendship, or relationship to give birth to something that they really would want to hold on to. Because that's the whole thing. Who wants to give birth to something that you're holding on to out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego? Love is a free will choice. And to want to hold on to something should be something you freely choose to hold on to because you love it. And so I think some people could have been holding back from things and people they love because they got themselves into or were caught up in their ego and image. And some of those people that could be in it are like, no, I'm done. I've been holding on to this for the wrong reasons. And there's other things I should be holding on to for the right reasons. So, people in high vibe Aries energy, what is coming up for them that they don't see coming? The Chariot, because of the world. Well, if they're in a mismatched relationship, I think moving forward in that relationship could come to an end because either they or the person they're with, shadowy people don't like it when the people they're in relationship maintain their balance and stay in an energy of love because the shadowy people in their life want to manipulate them. And if the loving people in their life are not letting them poke and play on their fear and their insecurity and their lust and their greed and their ego and their competitive nature or their codependent nature, and they're maintaining balance, eventually those people, they're more kind of like someone's light and love for themselves, and their balance bothers them because they are in their shadow energy, which is competitive energy. And I want to be able to manipulate you to get what I want. And if you're not willing to let me manipulate you, which basically is forcing the shadowy person to get more balanced and just and fair and hold back from what they love doing or how they like to operate in the world, that person, shadowy energy is your more impulsive, reckless way of being, and I want what I want. That person will do something operating from ego and be more hurtful and unkind, not working with the loving people in their life in order to keep trying to get them to do the relationship the way they want. So, someone who they viewed, if someone is in a mismatched relationship, the people they viewed as loving, that will come to an end because they will see the truth that that person isn't who they thought they were. And they will see the truth that they are more selfish and greedy and prideful and egotistical. And if any of those people have been holding on to a relationship, good or bad, if they had other people who harness high vibe Cancer energy, who love and believe in themselves, those people are going to move on because they love and believe in themselves. So if some people are in a loving relationship as well, they should hold on to it. They're going to move forward in victory and success. Any mental conflict they've had about being tempted will come to an end, and they'll move forward in their loving relationship. If they're in a loving relationship or in a mismatched relationship, and there was someone else who could have wanted to be in a relationship with them, if they're not willing to let that person into their life, it could just be a family member who wants to come back into a family dynamic, whatever. If the person they're not allowing into their group at this point in time or in their relationship, that person's the high vibe people are going to move on regardless. And if the other people were trying to be shadowy and tempt someone to be shadowy, they're not going to get the victory that they wanted. So just depends on if you're the person trying to hold on to someone. So if someone in shadowy, who harnesses shadowy worldly Capricorn energy, tries to tempt someone, regardless of what type of relationship, high vibe, mixed, low vibe, I don't think, well, I think if people are in a loving relationship or people have gotten into a new victorious that looks successful, they won't be tempted by those people. If the people they're trying to tempt, if they're already dealing with someone who wants to win at all costs, they're trying, well, it gets confusing. I gotta leave it there. This reading will go on forever. Anyway, high vibe people, you're definitely going to have victory in your life and learn lessons in life and be able to close out new chapters. The people in your life who are just and fair and bold and brave and available to be in a relationship with you will move forward with you because they want to be in a relationship with you and they want to hold on to you. And the people that are in other relationships, in mismatched relationships, in shadowy relationships, those people who aren't free to be in a relationship with you or don't want to be because of whatever their state of being is, you're going to be able to move on from them and have victory in your life because you love and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams, and you're going to give birth to working together with other people who are free in the world, who aren't in their ego or in relationships or whatever, and your dreams are going to come into reality, I would say. You're not going to let anybody hold you back, from being in loving relationships, basically. Other people might hold themselves back or are in loving relationships, one or the other. What about shadowy people and shadowy Aries energy? What they don't see coming, well, let's take a look at these cards that aren't showing themselves. The Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. If some of the shadowy people are in relationships with loving people, what they don't see coming is that those people who love and believe in themselves have been doing work within themselves to love and believe in themselves and get emotionally balanced so that they no longer can be manipulated by the shadowy people in their life. And they're going to hold back from these people and they're going to invest in moving forward. And the shadowy people don't see that coming. And if they do have someone who is willing to maybe be in a relationship with them, what they don't see is that the people who are willing to be in a relationship with them could be people like themselves who also don't grow and mature themselves, who might be getting in a relationship with them just because they feel left out in the cold and they have mental conflict about loving and believing in themselves. So they're kind of getting in a relationship with them out of codependency or want for stability or security. And they might think it's love, but that might not be the reason why people are getting in a relationship with them. So some people who want to win at all costs, who think, I'm the boss, I should be able to be indulged in a relationship. Oh, look, here's who's someone who's willing to move forward with me and hold on to me. That might not work out so well because they might end up kind of getting in a relationship with someone who's kind of like themselves. And that person, they could almost think, oh my gosh, just like my dream partner. They want to be in a relationship with me and stay in the relationship with me because of the image and the status and the money and willing to indulge me for those things. Well, when you have someone who's willing to get in a relationship with you for those things, they might find out that they didn't realize that they were giving birth to someone else who's selfish and greedy and materialistic, who also really doesn't do love, who also really doesn't like to open up, who might create an illusion that they're ready to move forward and that they're loving, but really they're more aligned with their egoic, emotionally defensive nature, and they're maybe going to give birth to being in a relationship with someone who's just like themselves, who holds back from love. And this person, but our shadowy energy is about our ego or our fear or our own codependent nature having us not see the truth, thinking it's love, but not realizing that someone might be getting in a relationship with us because they feel left out in the cold. They want to win against someone else in their life that ended a relationship with them. It's all about beating someone else out, you know. I want to look like I had a victory. So yeah, I'll get in a relationship with you because I want that person in my past to see that I got in a relationship with someone else. Like, that's not a good reason to get in a relationship, right? You know, that would be someone getting in a relationship for ulterior purposes. So anyway, we'll leave it there, Aries. I think high vibe people want to be in a relationship with other people who are high vibe. Other people who've learned lessons in life, they've learned lessons in life. If they're in a loving relationship, they're going to hold on to it. If they're in an unloving relationship, they might stop moving forward in that relationship to hold on to and align with other people in their life who are loving. And the shadowy people might not see that coming if they're in a mismatched relationship right now. And they were sure those people would never give birth to loving and believing in themselves to hold back from them. And the shadowy people might find out that people have mental conflict in moving forward with them, that the loving people in their life want to give birth to something new. And if the shadowy people aren't willing to get in the driver's seat of their life, those people are going to end a relationship with them. And the shadowy people are going to have to go find someone else to go get in a relationship with. And if they've already went through that and they found someone new to get in a relationship with, if they rejected loving people, it looks like what's on the table for them is to get in a relationship with someone who's just like themselves. And they might get in a relationship with someone who presented themselves as loving, but really could be someone who's bossy and controlling and manipulative, but will want to keep staying in the relationship for ego and image and status reasons. And it's all to make them kind of see, it's like, really? Is this? You thought this is what you wanted. Now you have it. Is this what you really want? Is this your dream relationship? Both of you being fearful or insecure, or both of you being bossy and controlling, nobody willing to open up, nobody willing to give birth to anything new. You want to keep giving birth to the same old thing over and over and operating from ego or whatever. And it's to get them to look at life from a higher perspective and see the truth that, because the thing is, the things of the world are meant to be enjoyed from a place of love, not in place of love. But some people thought, if I just didn't have to really be vulnerable and I could just get in a relationship. Well, if you reject the loving people, what kind of people are left? Other people who want to be in a relationship, not for love. And then you're in a relationship that isn't based on love. By worldly standards, it might look like it, but people are holding back from being loving. So who really wants that kind of environment, you know? But it's all about learning lessons, and the people who hadn't learned that before, when they were in loving relationships, might be out of luck with some of the people they would like to be in a relationship with at a future time, because those people have moved on, because they believed in themselves and they took their loving traits and skills and characteristics to other people in the world, and they're going to give birth to new things, or they already did. So there you go. I wish you peace, love, and joy, Aries, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.